If you are looking for a simple, classic little girls, toddlers, or baby dress, then this is the perfect tutorial for you. This is an excellent pattern if you are new to sewing, or if you are just wanting to make something up really quick as a baby shower gift, birthday gift, something like that. So stick around. Let's sew some dresses. Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jordan and this is Common Thread. And today I'm actually out in my new studio, or sort of new. Finally, I've got the lighting set up and I've got things set up. I have fairy lights set up in the back. So I'm really excited to be working in this space and hopefully it'll help me to get out some more videos for you guys. Common Thread is my sewing and DIY channel where I also share a little bit of lifestyle and thrifting videos. So if that's interesting to you, then why don't you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and stick around. So today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on making a simple peasant dress. The sizing of this pattern goes from 0 to 3 months all the way up to 5 to 6 years. And the pattern that we're going to be using is the Oh Me Oh My sewing pattern, and I will link that down below. And actually for this month, for January 2021, this is their charity pattern. So Oh Me Oh My uses the proceeds from a certain pattern every month to go towards a different charity. So I will link all that information down below, the charity that they're supporting this month. And then I also have a 15% discount for you guys for your first purchases from Oh Me Oh My Sewing. So definitely go check out their pattern shop. So without further ado, let's jump right into the easy peasy peasant dress pattern. To begin this project, you're going to need to assemble your supplies. You'll need a light to medium weight woven fabric, so something without any stretch in it, and you'll also need some matching thread and 1/4 inch elastic, and of course your assembled sewing pattern. If you need help assembling your pattern, I will link a video below where I walk you through my technique for printing and assembling patterns. For tools, you'll need a sewing machine, pins, a safety pin, iron, ironing board, mat, and a way to cut out your pattern pieces, so either scissors or a rotary cutter and a mat. For this project, I'm going to be using this floral cotton, mostly so that you guys can see the right and wrong sides of the fabric easily. So you can go ahead and put your front and back pattern pieces on the fold and cut them out. This dress only has 4 pieces, so it's pretty quick to cut out. Now, if you're wanting to do your sleeves on one flat piece of fabric, you'll just have to flip it over. Or you can fold your fabric on itself and then cut them both out at the same time, which is what I did here. Once you have all your pieces cut out, your front, back, and sleeves, then we can start assembling. Now I'm putting a safety pin on my front piece just so I can keep track of which one it is, since they are very, very similar. To start assembling, we are going to attach our sleeve to our front bodice piece, and we're going to do that just with pins along the side. And don't worry that that top piece isn't going to line up perfectly with that pointy shoulder bit there. When we sew it together, it will all line up where the seam actually is, so don't worry about that. And then go ahead and do the exact same thing on the other side. You're just going to line it up and pin it all in place. And you should now have a bodice piece with 2 little wings on the side. Now we're going to take our back piece and lay our front piece with the wings right on top, and then we're going to start lining up and pinning both of those sides as well, just like we did when we attached the sleeves to the front. We're now going to attach them to the back. Once you've done that, you should have a nice little head hole right here. Now you can go ahead and sew all of those seams that you pinned with 5/8 of an inch seam allowance with just a straight stitch. Now, to finish your seams, I'm just using pinking shears because I currently don't have a serger that's working, and I'm finding pinking shears for cotton works pretty well. Now, I iron my seams open, but if you've used a serger, I would just iron them to the sides, just so it's going to give a little bit less bulk once you start sewing up that neckline. Now, to do the side seams of the dress, just make sure that you line up those underarm sleeves, so you don't end up with some extra fabric at the top or the bottom. And then you can go ahead and finish pinning along both sides of your dress and sewing them with 5/8 of an inch seam allowance and finishing them however you're finishing. And just make sure you use a curved line when you're sewing under the arm, not a sharp corner. Moving on to our neckline, we're going to be folding down 1/4 of an inch and ironing that into place. And then we're going to fold down a 3/4 of an inch and iron and pin that into place. And don't worry if your neckline looks a little bit wonky. It's sort of impossible to get this curved neckline perfect unless we're using a bias tape system. So don't worry about it. Once everything is gathered, you will honestly not notice it at all. Once you've ironed your 1/4 of an inch, you can go ahead and clip off those pointy shoulder bits that I talked about before. And then fold down, iron, and pin 3/8 of an inch. I'm just going to move my little safety pin here. And then you can go ahead and sew a straight stitch all along the edge of your fold there, and just leave a 1/2 or 1 inch to 1.5 inch gap for threading elastic. And then we're going to do the same with our arms. We're going to fold 1/4 of an inch and then 3/8 of an inch. And we are going to sew around that with a straight stitch and leave a little inch to 1.5 inch gap under each arm. Now collect your 3 pieces of elastic. Depending on what size you're doing, you can check the pattern for that. And I'm going to do the arms first, so I'm just using a small safety pin, attaching it to one end, and then threading it through the arms. Now just make sure you do not lose that little end of elastic, because once it's in there, you have to start all over again. Another thing to do when threading elastic is make sure that you don't turn that safety pin and twist the elastic inside, because that can be a little bit of a pain to undo once you've done it. Once you get that elastic through, just give a feel and make sure you haven't accidentally twisted anything, and then you can go ahead and pin those 2 elastic ends together, one laying on top of each other. And this is just going to help us to see how everything looks before we actually sew each of our elastics closed. And then once that side is done, we're just going to move right on to the next side and do the exact same thing. Don't lose your tail and don't twist your elastic. Golden rules to live by when threading elastic. And last of all, you guessed it, we are going to thread that long piece of elastic through the neckline. You might find at the seams, especially if you're using a heavier fabric, that your pin is getting a little bit stuck. My only advice is don't force it. If you feel like it's getting stuck, just pull it back and try again. Once your elastic is through, go ahead and make sure you didn't twist anything inside and then attach the 2 ends together. Finally, once everything is attached, we're just going to turn it right side out and make sure all of these elastics are feeling right for you, for your little one, that the armholes aren't too small, and that the head hole is roomy enough. And if everything is good, then you can go ahead and start sewing your elastics together, just laying one on top of the other and using a zigzag stitch to attach them. And then you can go ahead and finish up those holes you left for threading your elastic with a straight stitch. Now moving on to our last bit of sewing, we're going to do our hemline. So turn your dress wrong way out again. And then we're going to fold and iron 1/4 of an inch and then 1 inch up. And we're going to just sew right along the edge of that 1 inch fold. Now, just a note, I did actually add about 2.5 inches to the length of this dress, so it might look a little bit different from yours, but you can see here how it will look once you've got it all ironed. Then you can go ahead and just do a straight stitch right along that top edge of your 1 inch fold. And just ignore my dirty iron. So here we have our finished peasant dress. be showing you how I take this simple pattern and hack it, extending the length, extending the sleeves, adding pockets, side pockets and front pockets, and then adding an elasticated waist as well. So if you are interested, I hope that you hit that subscribe button so you can be here for that video as well. Thank you so much for joining me for this tutorial, and I would love it if you would give this video a thumbs up and comment down below. Don't forget that there is a 15% discount code in the description below for Oh Me, Oh My Sewing for your first purchase. So definitely you want to get over there and get this pattern and look at all the other wonderful patterns she has. She has a really sweet bonnet pattern, tons and tons of different dresses and pinafores. So definitely go check that out if you are at all interested in sewing kids' clothes. And until next time, happy sewing!